Hello, my name is Edward Brown of the Core Edge Image and Charisma Institute, and today I want to talk about the impact of narcissism on charismatic leadership. I wrote a seminal paper that you can actually email me the request for, and I'll send it direct to your email address because I found that I was passionate about the idea of what makes a charismatic leader charismatic, what makes the individual tick from within. And narcissism is actually attributed to the idea of being self-absorbed and seeing the world from your own vantage point, and you are the center of that reality. And so I want to find out the connection between narcissism and charismatic leaders. What I found interesting enough is that when I tried to separate the two, in many instances I couldn't, because the traits were so closely aligned that I didn't know where the narcissism began and the charismatic leadership began or ended. And so I believe that when you look at those dynamics, one important note to be had is charismatic leaders and narcissists share the same traits as it relates to being self-absorbed, going after mission with all fervor and zeal, determining that a crusade or whatever dynamic they have enraptured themselves in is the most important thing to them at that point in time, and they won't stop or quit until they either succeeded or can't find any way of succeeding. And so when I saw these dynamics, I said that that's what we can learn from narcissists and charismatic leaders, that whatever that thing is that we enmesh ourselves in, we can overcome if we never quit or we don't see the value of quitting until we actually win. And so these dynamics are important for you to realize, because when you look at narcissists or charismatic leaders, you no longer can just look at them as self-absorbed individuals who don't care about you or care about the value or productivity of what they bring to the world. Now, yes, I did say that they are self-absorbed and less altruistic than the average person. But the value to you is that because of their zeal and zest for performance, that they will achieve things that the average person won't. When things go hard or become challenging, the average person will give up. The narcissist, charismatic leader will never give up. Again, until they can't win or failure is imminent. But I would say that when you look at the contributions on the world stage of narcissists and charismatic leaders, you can't deny the contributions. You have to say to yourself, good, bad, and different, we as a society benefit when people are self-absorbed, are operating from their vantage point, are operating from a mission that's self-aggrandizing. And when I looked at the dynamics of how those individuals worship themselves and believe themselves so hardly, it's because we as human beings, as the eminent philosopher Thomas Carlyle once said, we seem to be hardwired for hero worshiping. We seem to have a need to look at things or people outside ourselves or bigger than ourselves. We don't respect anything oftentimes on the same level as ourselves. We only respect things that are huge or large or we have to look up to. And so when I looked at the narcissistic personality, I said that, well, what is it that they're worshiping? If, in fact, we all are hardwired for worship, what are they worshiping? Well, instead of externally worshiping things, they worship themselves. They see the value in themselves. And you say that's a fault? Maybe so. Maybe it's a neurosis, a psychosis that a few percentile of people have to experience because they are of that personality trait. But I would say that you can take, again, away from the vantage point of what they do and how they see things, is realizing that when you're enraptured in a personality that has those traits, enraptured in a personality that draws you in, moves you in ways that you don't understand why, it's because we seem to be moving towards always something that gives us pleasure and away from pain, something that gives us inspiration, inspires, motivates us, as opposed to things that keeps us stagnant or mediocre. And so when we look at the narcissistic personality and the charismatic leadership model, you have to understand that these things fuse together because individuals are special. They don't have any role. They don't get promoted to these levels. They don't necessarily create anything that other people have handed down to them. They create oftentimes something from nothing, from ground zero, and build from there. And so these are the traits I think you can learn from these individual personalities, and you can grow and evolve yourself. Again, if you want a copy of the paper, go to www.core-edge.com, www.core-edge.com, and I'll send you a copy. Ed Brown, the Core Edge Image and Charisma Institute.